And welcome back to another episode of More Than Dice. I'm Gonzo. Kathy and John have not come back just yet. I came back just a little bit early. Free Flow are brand new to our podcast. We appreciate you coming out and watching. You should be seeing us live, hopefully by now. I'm not even sure what episode we are. I'm gonna stump Kathy and see if she remembers or not.
Lies! Deception!
Lies, deception. I can hear John coming back. We took our little quick break so they could get their alcohol and get their drink on and such. And I will actually be trying a new drink tonight. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it, but I saw it and I was like, okay, that's at least interesting to try. So I'll do that. John, what episode are we on tonight? Do you remember?
Oh, I'd say 112.
112? 111? 112? I have no clue. I can't remember either. I'll let you figure that out. Tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about... I'm going to give a review of a miniature game.
Not my job.
Art always gets me. I'm going to be painting on my Night Watch some more. So we'll be watching me do that. We're also going to be talking about volunteering for your local or even for your big conventions. And what else? And hobby stuff in general, because you know us. We'll talk about anything hobby related.
Kathy, what episode is it?
110.
Wrong, 111.
Shut
I feel
up.
bad. I was wrong too. I thought it was 112.
So we split the difference, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing that. Tonight's topic is going to be hobby related, of course, because Gonzo's still going to be working on his stuff. I want to talk about volunteering at a convention or your local, because something came up with me that I thought was interesting today, which means I may be donning the black again. And then I want to give a review on a miniature game I played, and it actually is a kind of a positive review. There's some caveats. John, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, assuming I don't dip into the limoncello I've got here that my mom sent me home with a couple weeks ago, and I finally remembered to bring up here. I have a screwdriver.
Okay. Kathy, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking gin and tonic. And I also have hot tea.
Hot tea.
That's crazy talk.
And look.
You've another big fluffy.
I am trying something by Shiner. It is Shiner's S'more. It is a chocolate and marshmallow ale. So
I love chocolate marshmallow, but that sounds fuck awful.
It doesn't smell bad. I'm sitting here smelling it. It smells very chocolatey. I don't know how bad or how good it's going to be, so I'll give a review after I take some pretty big swigs of it. John, do we have any tributes or anybody we need to give a quick shout out to tonight?
Not that I can recall, but I had a busy week, so don't hold me to that.
Okay, I didn't see anything. All right, so we also want to thank all of our sponsors that help us out. Creature Caster, which if you're not following us on Facebook, find us on Facebook, because we're going to be giving away a $30 gift certificate on our Facebook page, which you have to be a follower and like our Facebook page to get that one. And we also want to thank Muse on Minis for hosting files and distributing us out so you can hear us on every single 50 million platforms out there that we have it on. Tectonic Crest Studios, Dan the Man. If you got some good MDF terrain you'd like to see, go see that man. And who am I missing? Oh, Metalhead Minis. Lynn. I want to thank her. She is actually, there is a link going to pop up in chat to some of the products that we sell through her. Our dice sets are on there. Our objective and flags for certain games is on there, and measuring widget set is on there also, with also proxies and our tournament tracker too. So you'll see those on her website. So we appreciate that. So, other than that, we thank you a lot for watching and listening. So, cheers.
Cheers. Tasty. Maybe a touch too much vodka in that.
There may be a touch too much gin in this.
Oh, it's gonna get fun.
Oh.
So
So Kathy, while you're talking, I'm gonna go grab another beer.
I'm tired from yesterday. I woke up at 6 something this morning. It's been go 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 today, and as I was pouring gin into my glass, I was thinking it was the tonic water.
Oh, that's an interesting little combination. A little ratio. I have to go blind because I have such a big, not standard sized glass. I'm just like, fuck it, throw some in there. Let's see how it goes.
So yeah.
This might be what we call slightly aggressive.
Unlike
shit,
John,
Gusto.
who is all sweetness and light all the time.
I am all sweetness and light all the time.
Holy
Or-
crap, that thing's
face.
bad. Oh, okay. Now I'm expecting a little chocolate and sweet kind of taste, but no.
So it was fuck awful.
Yeah, it's bad. Missy, I'm bringing that over. Y'all can have it. Ugh.
Alrighty, it
Oh, man, Gusto, I almost wore
sounds
that
like
shirt
it
today.
tastes just like I thought it would.
Oh. So tonight I'm going to be drinking a coffee grinder, a winter grinder coffee stout, which I've had before, and it is amazingly good.
Shouldn't be that funny, but it's really fucking funny.
Oh god, it was bad.
So remember, in my opinion, it starts off as beer, so it's starting off with the strike again today.
Yeah.
Oh,
But how do you incorporate marshmallow without it being sweet, but without it? I mean, it's still going to
Being
have
too
that
sweet.
sort of happy,
Sounds like fuck
Bitterness.
all to me.
I don't know. There's nothing about that sounds good. The only beer that was remotely coffee that ever tasted good to me was
oh,
a Brewery Mischief.
oh.
Gonzo's still suffering.
Ah.
That's an impressive beer, and Gonzo's still in rough shape.
Blech. That's gross. All right, switched over to the paint cam. So I can work on it because I'm still, like I said, still trying to get my night watch
So you're
done.
painting it light gray, contrast.
Yeah, I'm using the Apothecary White for the fur on their cloaks or area, and I'm putting it on there pretty heavy, so it'll be in there. And then I think what I'm going to do is after it's all dried and set, I'm going to take and do not even really a dry brush, but run, oh god, run white on the top of it so the white kind of stands out a little bit more. After I get all this in.
So Wade 3 said he tried Dead Guy Ale, Voodoo Donut Maple Bacon flavored beer once. Mistakes were made. Have I told you about maple bacon vodka? I think it is actually from a similar named company. I forget what it was. I've been trying to forget. Norin saw it. We advertised on something, and we're like, that sounds good. So we bought 3 bottles, brought one over. I had a shot, and it was fucking terrible. So we put it in the freezer, and I had another shot after it was frozen. Well, frozen, super cold. It was fucking awful. We gave it to our alcoholic friend. He's like, nope, don't want any more of that. When they sold the house that Creekins and I used to rent, on the counter of the ad, they still had the bottle there because we left it because I wasn't taking it fucking with me. Oh, it was fucking terrible.
I mean, I like chocolate ales. Don't get me wrong. I think they're really good, but they've got to be done just right. And I was like, okay, well, marshmallow, maybe it'll just be like a little bit sweeter, a little bit, maybe a creamy type I think no.
No.
No, 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 no. Oh,
That was extreme hand view.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out. So I moved my camera around so I could do this because I'm going to be doing a lot of painting, but it seems like my hand is going to be in the way too much. So I just got to play around with this for a bit. Okay, so this week I had a friend of mine, Nick, come over. Nick is a good friend of mine that he is pretty much a human computer. He's a professor at our local university. Really, really smart guy. Knows a lot about a bunch of stuff. Like he can go, oh, I think I have a 98.7% chance to win this based on dice rolls. And then he'll come back to me and go, well, that 1.3% screwed me type thing.
So, I'm going to tell you a little secret about anyone who uses percentages like that. Like, he may be a human computer, but he's missing something. There ain't no 90% chance to win anything where dice are involved.
But no, but like I said, he's a very big math guy. Can get stuff done. Knows what he's doing. Very smart guy.
Okay, I
Ooh.
found this on the web for is a very big Mac die.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Siri.
Oh,
That was pretty funny. For a very big math guy.
Usually it's I that has that problem.
Oh, I know.
I totally just muted the microphone on my particular one. Anyway,
So-
very big math guy.
Really smart guy. Helps me figure out a lot of things whenever when I had to teach high school math and stuff at one point in my career. That was the first person I went to. Like, hey, how do I figure this out to make it so blah, blah, blah. But he is helping design and rewrite the rules for Heavy Gear Blitz. For people that don't know what Heavy Gear is a mech combat game. I'm not sure what came out first. I remember the role-playing game. I still own all the books. The role-playing game is very, very complicated. Not very good, but is very cool.
It's style over substance.
Correct. There was, and they had a couple of video games and some other stuff happen with their product. It's by DreamPod 9. I think they had another system called the Jovian Chronicles or something.
Yes.
Yeah. And I recognize them from the video game, or from the role-playing game. And at one point, they had a miniatures game called Heavy Gear. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I wouldn't mind playing, a miniature game. Reminds me of the old Battletech days or, whatever.
Just so you know, role-playing game first.
Okay.
Not by much.
I figured it was, but I didn't, wasn't going to quote it. But, and then the miniature game kind of disappeared. And I was like, okay, well, crap. And then they did a restart, and they kickstarted Heavy Gear Blitz to rewrite the rules and to turn all their miniatures into plastic, which they're still doing right now. It's not over yet. Not all the models are in plastic yet, but a decent amount of them are. You can still use the metal ones in the game, so it's not that big of a deal. So he got me like the two equivalent starter sets to go with, and the game is either played on a 4x4 or a 6x4, depending on how many points you're playing with. They recommend like the standard point size is I'm not sure the point total, but it was a 6x4. Is the standard game, but we played on a 4x4 because we were doing, let me learn the system, let me learn the rules, let me figure out, what it's like, type thing. And we played the basics. This is how you do everything. It has a mechanic where you move squad by squad, and I move. So I start off, with one squad. I move one model in the squad. If that one model doesn't do an action, people that have that model in line of sight can shoot at it. So it has kind of an ARO system like Infinity built into it. Wasn't bad, because the good thing about it is if you used your action, if you shot at a model not on your turn, it took up the action of that model. So you had to
Gotcha.
choose it.
So you still only get like one shot, but if you can take it out of turn.
Correct. You can take it out of turn. And, depending on whether it's worth it or not, you may want to wait. But it also, there is no pre-measuring. With a caveat on that, there is a certain amount of pre-measuring you can do, but you can't pre-measure like the distance of your weapons. They do have electronic warfare in the game, which we didn't get into, but we talked about it. And then there's, like you can like obstruct your signal so people couldn't see you or make it harder to hit. Or you can, do some other stuff of that nature. Wasn't as complicated because we just went over the rules on that. We didn't go, we didn't get super crazy on it. But not near as complicated as you would think in like the.
Gonzo, your camera needs to be moved up and to the left a little bit.
Okay. Sorry,
Funny,
thanks. I
brought
can't
that
see it
model
most of the
into
time.
frame and then moved the camera up for it out of frame. It was a little amusing.
Okay, well, I'm trying to get everything because one of my cameras fell and I had to reposition it, and this one's coming to it.
That one's pretty good.
I can go back like this. But it's played with a tape measure and movement. You can double your move.
Tape measure? What kind of game is this?
Oh, I know. And then everybody has a certain amount of actions. Movement is not considered an action, so you could double move and shoot, but you take a penalty from doing that. Which is okay, because that means you can move around. So once all the squad is moved and done all their actions, your opponent gets to move their squad. And they move model by model, and after that model moves, you kind of ask if you want to do any counter shooting type stuff. And you can have an entire squad shoot it if it has actions for that round. The game is played with a scenario basing. So there's, not just beat each other up. Terrain plays a factor. If you're within a certain distance of the terrain, you can gain cover. Typical type stuff, not uncommon. The system was very unique in that you roll base 2d6, and then you can get additional dice on equipment or, cover or whatever. Because the cover isn't a subtraction of die on the person shooting. It's a bonus die for the person being shot at.
Is it dice added together, or is it number of successes?
Neither. It is, say, your gunnery skill. Well, you take your highest die, okay? And you roll we're going to say 3d6, okay? And you roll it, and say you get your 4 is your highest. But your piloting skill for a dodge is a 3. Any 3s get to add +1 to that roll. +1 to that die. So, say I'm going to shoot John. And I'm going to roll my 3 dice. And I get a 6, 5, and a 2. Well, the 6, I add that. That's my base die of 6. I add +1 because that other die was above but my gunnery, equal to or above my gunnery skill. So I have a roll of 7. You roll your defensive dice, and your piloting is a 3, and you roll a 5 and a 3 and a 3. You match my roll. And depending, like if you have agility, it doesn't hit. But the degree of success determines how much damage you do. It was different. I caught it really quickly though, but I'm really used to it, so it wasn't a big deal. I did take a picture of a few of the models, and it's on our Facebook page, and it was good. The models are nice in detail. He did show me something to go with infantry, because I was worried about how can infantry survive when you're going in, when mechs are involved, and certain weapons don't affect infantry because they are just hit too wide of an area or something of that nature.
Yeah, to use BattleTech parlance, sure, PVC does a lot of damage, but that's one infantryman who's very, 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 very dead.
Yes, and that's how they play it too. You can repair mechs. Mechs dying in one hit was very rare. I didn't even get I only dropped one mech in one, and we didn't even get through one full turn because I was testing out stuff, and so I was going kind of crazy with it. Because I was testing out the rules, you want to say, and just testing out different things of it, and I had a lot of fun. It's very reasonably cost price. Like a starter, which you can play on a 4x4, is only about $60. So I mean that's not bad considering.
No, it's fine.
And you get about I think the most he said you ever see is like 12 to 13 models on the table.
That's skirmish size.
Yeah, skirmish size enough, but there's different things. You know, you have the warfare, and there's like 10 different factions though, which I thought was interesting. And those 10 different factions all have different abilities, and they're all unique. A lot of combat in the game, of course, is ranged. There's very little hand to hand, although there is, if you get up in a mech, you can do it. I thought about just picking up like a little starter set type thing, and that way I could, play a little skirmish game here and there just to do it. If you like a MechWarrior game and you don't have BattleTech, or you don't like BattleTech, or you want something that's different, I would recommend this. I cannot keep this thing in screen at all.
I have an important question.
Uh-huh.
There are people who don't like BattleTech?
They don't like the mechanics of it, and I know that some people... I know a lot of people that play BattleTech but only play it as the grid system and don't play it as the... I don't even know if you can, because I've only seen it as a grid system.
Oh, yeah, they've always had miniature rules. It's the easiest conversion ever.
Oh, okay. But I know people that just don't like the grid system.
Back in my day, you just played BattleTech and you liked it.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. It was fun. The game was good. I didn't have any major flaws except for getting a hold of plastics is going to be an issue. They don't have a distributor, and they don't plan on doing distributing because it cuts down on their costs. They are a company in Canada, and so they do all their own shipping. And they do have a retailer option, so you can get it through that way. But they don't distribute through any major system.
Yeah, they'd have to be Canadian, and if they're in America, they would be probably not able to do that because that is against the law.
Oh, is it?
So back in the 90s, Games Workshop tried to cut out distributors and do all of their own shipping to people and not sell to distributors. And they had a lawsuit slapped on them by Alliance Games Distribution, and they had to because that's the law.
Didn't know that.
History! So I mean, the only ever problem with heavy gear that ever existed was that it wasn't BattleTech.
Correct.
It's hard to get in with the big dog. BattleTech isn't quite the big dog it used to be, though it's funny that they do their Kickstarter, and BattleTech did a Kickstarter not that long ago, and their models are, I'm not gonna lie, pretty shit hot.
The BattleTech ones?
Oh god, yeah, and they have
I haven't seen it yet.
so much stuff coming. I am actually excited. Even their starter set, that's very well priced. I think it was like $30. I bought it when Necromiles was down, and cause he's a big BattleTech guy, and the models are pretty good. I'll take some pictures later, throw them up on a Facebook page or something. And I mean, they're doing a good job. It's still the same rules, but they do also have First Strike, which is their rules light, more models version.
Gotcha.
Because now with everyone having printers all the time, I feel like BattleTech would be a lot easier because really the only other problem was getting the sheets for it. Nowadays, you could just print what you need. I mean, shit. Back in the day, I used to go to the library and with my allowance, and I would just print out copies of all the mechs I plan on using. I'd have this big, brown folder with all the different pockets in it and all, and I'd have all sorts of sheets in there. Oh my god, back in the day, that was...
I remember. I liked BattleTech, MechWarrior, whichever one you're going to go with, because, depending on your preference.
I mean, MechWarrior was cool, but it's hard to be a mech pilot in a game where a couple lucky hits and you die.
Yeah. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I could see picking up, a small set and just going with it. Because, I mean...
It's also slightly more anime-inspired mechs. They're like the halfway point between true anime mechs and BattleTech mechs. They're not quite as plotting war machines as BattleTech, but they're not quite the ninja robot missiles firing out their rear and swooping around everywhere that anime mechs are.
But I mean, it was a simple system. There wasn't anything wrong with it. I didn't find any major glares. And it was alternate activations with the ability to activate on your opponent's turn. So you were always doing something, which I think is a very key thing that has to be done nowadays.
Absolutely.
If you make a miniatures game and you try to do the 40K War Machine Hordes version of it, it probably isn't going to work as well. Because people want to play and do stuff. With the ARO style system in the game where you can shoot at your opponent during their turn is actually pretty dang good. It was a lot of fun. So, 2 thumbs up for me. I'll probably pick up some small stuff. Also, I'm going to support my friend Nick because he is designing the game and helping them out with it. So, I always support my buddies.
I would like to, but I have literally 0 people who would be interested with me. So, because Banyan is a BattleTech guy, and Not Brushhead Dave is a doesn't care about any of those things guy. He cares for what he cares about, and that's it. And if you get into a game, I would get into it. And then the rest of the crew would probably be more BattleTech because that's their childhood.
Yeah. So, other than that. It was a lot of fun. I just got all the fur done. So all the fur is pretty much covered on the armies. I've got to wait for all of this to dry so I can try to give it a little bit more uniqueness to them. I think I'm going to do the crossbow, the wood on the crossbow is where we're doing this. Something else came up over the weekend. I got a message on Facebook from a friend of mine. He listens, a friend of mine, Alan, and he was asking me, how do I get my players to learn to play War Machine Hordes and play the scenarios instead of the I'm going to kill you down to the man and go for assassination all the time? And I was like, okay, well, what do you mean? And he says that he's got a bunch of new players, and all they want to do is they want to win. And they want to do steamrollers, but they can't get it in their head to play the scenarios. They just want to kill a lot. And I go, well, they can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if they're looking to win, you've got to be careful of the scenarios.
Why you can open that bag of worms, dog?
And so I told him, I says, this is what I would do. People new to the game, I would tell them to do X, Y, Z. Tell them that they can't win by assassination. They have to win by scenario only to get them to learn to do it and such. And so he says that he was trying that, and it was really cool, and people liked it. But then he asked me if I would come down because he's not too far from me. And kind of do like a demo day and help the guys figure out, let them ask questions, do stuff like that, and learn how to play the game. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. I don't have a problem. I'll take a Saturday to drive up and come and help you out. I mean, that's what we do. We help the community out. And then he brought up, well, if you want, I'll pay for your gas. And I'll pay for a hotel room for you to stay at. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. It's not that far to drive. He's like, no, I mean, you're going to be spending your time doing this. And I says, yeah, but that's what we do. We help each other out and we give each other, the support. Don't get me wrong. If you're expecting me to go to Seattle and I'm in Arkansas to help you out with the convention, yeah, I might need some help on that. But if it's a day drive or whatever, or, a few hours drive, you don't have to do that. It's nice, but it was interesting because the conversation got brought up about people volunteering for stuff. Now, remember, the Privateer Press, got rid of their press gang, and Steve Forge got rid of their pundits, by the way. I just learned this out today. which is their version of the press gangers. And let me try this out. And it got me thinking that, yes, whenever we did, the press gangers did stuff, we did it and we got compensated for it for some reason or another, with the points or, whatever. And I was like, okay, I wasn't too worried about it. I was happy. I got something out of it. But that's not the main reason why I was a press ganger. And then something came up where someone said they wanted to run something at my convention. And I was like, cool, that would be awesome. I would love for you to come and run this game. And then he's like, well, I need you to pay for my hotel room. I need you to pay for my dinners. I need you to pay for this and pay for that. And I'm like, you need to pay for my flight out. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop you now, because I can't do that. While I would love for you to do this, I just can't afford it. The convention is not strong enough to do that. And the guy was like, okay, well, okay, then I'm sorry I won't be able to do it. And I'm like, okay, thanks for, offering and such, but I understand. So it kind of brought up the subject of, and I'm not trying to make this sound like it's bad, but I'm not going to do something for you unless you give me something in the return type thing. Now, like I said, I understand if you're going to be driving halfway across the nation or whatever to do something, but there's been this issue lately where you need to give me X amount of dollars for helping you out. John, you've done a lot of volunteering and stuff.
I have. It's been mostly local, though.
Correct. Now, if you were local and someone said, hey, will you come and, run a tournament for me? And it was local, or whatever, what would you typically say to that? If you had the time and they gave you fair enough, warning about it.
I mean, sure. I'll take care of it.
Okay.
That's what we do. If it's a game you're interested in, we say this a lot, but if it's a game you're interested in that you want to grow the community for, sometimes you've got to make tiny sacrifices to get that community growing, and sometimes that is sacrifices only your time. I mean, gas is generally nominal in a local area, but if it's getting too far, maybe. But also, to be fair, every store I've ever run a tournament at has taken care of me if I've done that, without any other,
Yeah, maybe giving you something, discount, or...
Well, so I ran a tournament. There was one Sunday I went to Games and Stuff to play a tournament. The person who was supposed to run it, and I'm not sure who that was, wouldn't call them out if I did, didn't show up. So I ran the tournament, and the store took care of me. So it's fine. I didn't expect to get taken care of. I ran it because I was there. The tournament was supposed to go on, and someone needed to take care of it. It was me or nothing, and nothing wasn't going to do. So, but I understand people wanting. I mean, if they've got to hop on a flight to get somewhere, I understand where they're coming from.
I understand that too.
I wouldn't offer something like that without going. Okay, hey.
Oop.
2 ways. I'll be at your convention anyways because I'm going to do stuff there. You want me to run an event or two while I'm there? I'm not going to go. I'll come to your tournament to run these events if you pay me, or if I do, I would make that up front. Like, Gonzo, I understand you need people. Are you interested in hearing, what it would take for me to come out there? I'd say that it's all an extension of sort of my customer service training. It's to manage the expectations of the person you're talking with. If I come out and say, hey, Gonzo, I understand you're having problems finding someone to run X game that I'm good at. Do we want to talk about getting me out there and what it's going to take? Because now you know what John's coming from. Okay, John's coming from, he can come out here, but he's going to expect something out of it. And you can make your decision like, oh, no, John, I'll find someone local. Cool. That's all the way. I think Kathy's got a lot of experience in this, too. She volunteers at Adepticon and such.
Yeah. I've never, I don't know, I've never expected something for volunteering at a convention. The
No.
whole reason I started volunteering there, anyways, is back in the day when it was a smaller convention and it was so much fun. We just wanted to see it succeed, and the way to do that is to help out, to pitch in. So that's what we've always, every year, that's what we've done. We've tried to find some way, whether it's getting on the assembly line to help stuff the swag bags, or to volunteer a few hours, at registration, or to volunteer to fold sweatshirts, for the merch table, or, I mean, anything, any little bit, any few hours you have, to help out, is welcome. And that's how you help make a convention better.
Mhm.
It's not like Gen Con, where they have a board of directors and are for profit, and they pay all of their employees and
Yeah, they're
everything.
trying to make it professional. A lot of tournaments start off, a lot of conventions start off as sort of homegrown, just a bunch of friends and branching out. And those things
Yeah.
need our help.
And while Adepticon is big for what it is still far from being a Gen Con or a Comic Con or an Anime Con. It's still a local homegrown convention. And they need people who want to help out and see it survive.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I do, and I don't expect things in return. And if I get some bonus thrown my way in the shape of a T-shirt or something once in a while, then that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I've volunteered at many a place. I mean, I've gone into very few things expecting something, and most things expecting something was because that was literally what they said, or I was working as part of the crew for a actual company. I was a field agent for Agents of Gaming back when they were a company. I've done a couple events where I would run a day of Babylon 5 Wars demos for them. I mean, and obviously I expect them to cover what they cover, but I wasn't expecting the store to drop anything on top of me. Or when I go to a store, they're like, "Oh, hey, John, was it one of the local Baltimore tournaments? The guy who organizes it was playing also, and he needed just a neutral party there." So I'm like, "Sure, I'll show up and be a neutral party. I don't need anything. I'll just show up. Good Lord, you're not even asking me to go far." You help out where you can help out, and it's all a matter of what you need to do. But on the other end, if you are someone who's running a tournament or an event, you have to realize that you're asking for people's time and effort, and to some people, based on where their life is, that might be a lot. And you should probably look at offering if you know those people. If I need a certain person's help and they've got a family, I'm going to offer something because that's family time they're not getting, Not really fair to them. But I'm not going to be like, crazy amounts of anything. It's just, try and do something for them. But also, you need to come into that discussion knowing full well where you're going. If you're offering your help, you should be damn sure letting them know exactly what your expectations are for helping. Not, "Oh, hey, you want me to come out and help?" "Sure, absolutely." "Okay, I'm going to need this," because that's not the right way to do it. And generally, I follow the Japanese rule of payment for things that are not a big deal. I declined 3 times. If you give it to me again, I'm fucking taking it. I do that with my family. My cousin Don I took a day off work back when I worked for myself, so it wasn't really a big deal. And I helped him move, and we moved all day, and he tried to give me money. I'm like, "No, it's good. He's like, no, really. I'm like, no, it's good. You know, family, help. The fourth time you offered it, I took the money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's the rule. And that means you meant it, I don't mind going out of my way to help people. I mean, it's how we make the world a better place for people. Not everyone's got the means, Some people can help you. Some people can afford beer and pizzas for the help people help move. Some people are in bad straits and can't move by themselves and need someone to help them move or something like that. And you need to come in and do it gratis. That's what friends are for, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you got to look at it like that. I mean, we're not all friends necessarily, but we're all way more than acquaintances, because we're all acquaintances who have a shared passion for the hobby, and we want the hobby to do better. So you sort of have to up it a bit. Heck, I said that to L. Marshall when he was moving. He has a lot of crap, and it was going to be a lot of work, and I ain't as young as I used to be. I'm like, hey, how are you moving? Are you hiring movers, or do you need the crew? Just so I know, like, what am I doing? Am I coming and helping you move a ton of shit that's going to be heavy, or are you getting people to do it for you? Luckily, he chose people to do it for him, but I was ready to help. I don't expect anything. Fuck. Again. Yeah, it's not. No, it would be, like, hey, Gonzo, you're on a War Machine weekend. Do you want to talk about what it takes to get me out there? That would be the conversation starter. Like, and you can decide, okay, do I need John out there? Is it going to be worth it to bring John out there? Because I understand John's many states away, beyond an easy drive. I mean, I don't mind it too much, but Not Brushhead Dave's not a big fan, so. So what is it going to take? Yes. Yes. And it's hard. This is part of that whole... So, I find that us tabletop gamers are better socially than a lot of people, but we're still not great. We need to make sure we're socially telling people, what we expect. There's a sort of idea, not everyone knows how to talk to people. Somehow I know how to talk to people. I don't know how that ever happened, but here we are. And
that's because you're the nice one, John.
I do customer service for a living. I mean, I actually am a nice guy, apparently. I never would have known that. But you have to manage the expectations of the person you're talking to. You go into a conversation with somebody, let them know full well where the conversation is going. You don't want to expect, like, oh, hey, do you need this thing? Oh, yeah, you love that thing. Okay, I'm going to need you to give me this much money. No. It's not going to go, hey, Kathy, do you want these extra Nurgle models? I'm like, sure, I'll take these extra Nurgle models. I'm not like, oh, I have $50. No, that's not where that conversation goes. That conversation would be, Kathy, I have extra Nurgle models. Are you interested in buying them from me?
Yes, that would be the way to phrase it.
Exactly. It's all about how you talk to people.
If I wanted to go to a convention and have my way paid, I would be like, hey, Gonzo, what do I have to do to get you to front me the money I need to make it to your convention?
Exactly. I mean, it's all about...
what do I have to do to make that happen? Well, you need to work, 30 hours of the 4-day convention, and okay.
Yeah, that is how that conversation should go. But also, we're in a weird point in society where we communicate a lot of times by text message and emails and chats, and there is no intonation, there is no context clues as to how a person means based off that unless they go out of their way. There's a great skit by Key and Peele where the one guy is sort of just super chill, laid back, and the guy's like, do you want to go out? And he's sort of
God, I love that one. I know what one you're like, talking about.
Sure, whatever. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And he's getting off, and it's not how he means it at all.
That's totally me and a friend of mine. We have exchanged messages, and we end up calling each other on the phone because all of a sudden I can tell there's been some horrible misunderstanding.
Yeah, never assume a tone that person wouldn't take with you, or if it's a person out of nowhere, assume friendly. I had one guy email me while I worked at Games Workshop, and it was a very important issue. I'm not going to bring up what the issue was, but he's like, hey, John, since we're just talking here, assume we're having a nice, pleasant conversation and I'm not angry at all. And that was how he started it. It was great. It means I knew exactly where he was coming from, exactly how he felt about it. He felt it was important enough to bring to my attention, but not important enough that he was angry or upset. He's not yelling. It's just important note. That is so important in tone, and we won't take it. So if Gonzo has this guy saying this, he should be like, no, I'm not interested, but he shouldn't take it as an attack upon him or a slight. Because I don't think the guy means it that way. He could be not even any clue that you're upset about this. Even a little bit. He could be like, oh my God, I was trying to help, and not realizing he's not phrasing it well, because people who don't know how to phrase it well don't know that they don't know how to phrase it well for the most part. They are at the incompetence, and it sounds terrible to say it that way. They're unaware and incompetent. They don't know, and they don't know that they don't know. And they're the most dangerous, but you have to sort of, understand that.
Yeah, and when I talk about the misunderstandings I have with my friend via text, this is one of my best friends. And so I don't understand how, they could think that I'm, upset with them. I don't understand it. And I always end up having to call them and be like, look.
I could do a whole podcast on not reading into texts or lack of text or lack of responses. Don't ever worry about that stuff. I could do a whole podcast about it.
But that Key and Peele skit is so right on the money.
I literally want to do a training at work using that as the core of it. It seems stupid, but it illustrates the point like nothing else can. Because you immediately get it. Oh.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Well, it sort of shows that you can learn things from different areas. And, I mean, it's one thing, this is going to sound weird to people if they know my profanity-laden rants, I take customer service super duper seriously. And you can apply that to so many other parts of life. When the McDonald's is taking a long time to make my food, I'm standing there with a smile. Don't need to look over and see scowling faces and shit. It's like if my opponent's taking a long time to turn, I smile. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. You send the wrong message if you stand there with a frown on your face or looking like you're about to shank the motherfucker. Now, there are times when maybe you should stand there and look like if they're taking an egregious amount of time, you might want to stand there looking like you're about to shank a motherfucker. They might get the point. That's a subtle hint you might want to pick up on. Yeah, I mean, in any case, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to relate it back to games since we are, more than dice. Go like, hey, dude, are you almost done with your turn? Do you what's going on? Do you need to talk it through? There's a lot of things you can do, especially in a casual game. You don't remember there are two people involved in every game. You don't want to be having another guy sitting there for too long. It's all things you can do, and sometimes just being blunt but nice can work. Don't be blunt but rude, because I got a couple things like that and they're not nice. Well, of course, that's what you want to do. I mean, sometimes you get further with a nice word than you do with an insult, but sometimes you need the insult to let them understand just exactly how things are going. I feel like we've become a culture too much of sarcasm and snide remarks when you don't need to start there. I think we've gotten a little off topic. I think slightly drunk. Yeah, and you can do that. And back onto the topic, if you're going to, ask someone to, that you want to help at a show, communicate it right. Don't take the tone the wrong way. If they say, no, man, I'm good, they're not necessarily upset that you're asking for something. Maybe they're just like, yeah, sure. I mean, I appreciate you asked, but, it's not what they want to do. And we don't always have time to respond in all the words we need to make it perfectly clear. So you have to make some assumption. You have to understand who that person is and make the assumptions, If I text Kathy and I just say K, she's not like, oh, he's blowing me off. No, he's busy. He's just saying K because he's taking the time to respond real quick. Spoiler, I never say K because I type R and it brings up Roger, and I just type Roger and everyone understands. Yeah. So yeah, you don't want to assume that stuff, and when you're talking to people, just make it clear what you're talking about. If you want to come to a show and help, but it's a little far, like, hey Gonzo, I want to come to War Machine Weekend, but it's a little much. What can we work out? That's a great way to start a conversation on that, because it explains to Gonzo that you want to come to his convention, and you can't afford it necessarily all by yourself, and you're willing to bargain for how you get there. The art of bargaining is lost art that needs to be brought back.
He hopes he can, because not every vendor is completely ready before open.
Yeah, I mean that is absolutely fair. That's asking for something. Like Kathy said, stuffing all this stuff in bags. I mean, you go to Repticon and I help with a bunch of stuff. You hand me a swag bag, Philly, I am done. Like, what else do you need done?
Sorry for the people listening. I did mute myself just a second ago. Sorry, and I just put it back on.
Oh,
Some people could hear me, some people couldn't.
So keep that in mind if you're offering to help at a convention, and I think that's more of our audience is more of the offering to help, not the running a convention. That's the rare few people. But if you're offering to help, just make sure you're abundantly clear with where you're coming from when you talk to the people.
100% make sure that you're clear. I don't care what anybody says. You need to make sure, and don't come back and go. The wording, you need to go, hey, John, I need you to come run 40K for me. Can you come run 40K for me? Yeah, I can do that for you. And then a day before the thing, hey, what about my compensation?
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
you should all take care of that beforehand.
Yes.
Like, sure, Gonzo, I can run 40K. Can you do something small for me because I'm losing a little bit of time I wanted to do this for? That's how that goes.
Yeah.
Be willing to bargain, especially with these kind of things. This is the time to bargain. Is maybe you get something. It's like, I can, comp something small. Sure, that's fine. I mean, sometimes that's all you need,
You want a free t-shirt and dice? Yeah, here you go.
T-shirt and dice, fucking A.
Yeah.
Why not St. Louis? Let's go.
Oh, it's like what's funny is I had this lady that was coming to the convention anyway, and she asked how she could help, and I says, well, I really need someone to run this type of thing. Are you willing to do that? She's like, yeah. Can I get a free t-shirt instead of dice for that? I'm like, 100% yes, you can. That is perfectly reasonable. Because, I mean, it was only one event that she was doing. It was going to be an all day, but it was, taking time out of her schedule. she saved, t-shirts $20, dice were like $8 or $10, type thing. So I mean, it was worth her while, and I'm like, yeah, 100%.
And as a final, don't expect these conventions and tournaments and all to be able to comp you at anything remotely approaching what your professional rate would be.
Oh.
Yeah, these are not big businesses making huge wads of cash.
No. I mean, them doing something should be enough. And maybe it's not enough. Maybe you are spending a lot of time and it's important, but make sure that's clear when you're talking.
Yeah, well, it's like, so for me, it's been to Warfare Weekend or previous War Machine Weekend. AK runs the Invitational and the LCQ, and that is an entire, weekend's worth of work. And he does it. He loves it. It's what he's been doing, ever since it was around. He, enjoys every bit of it. And then when they were taken that we had to pay him, he was like, well, here's the thing. You can't pay me what I'm worth to do all this stuff, and I'm not expecting you to, but this is what I want in return. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm opening up.
It's similar to. It's different, and it sounds similar to, but it is different than offering artists exposure for their work.
Correct.
So, and it's key to keep that clear. You are not a professional at whatever you do. Kathy.
Hey, Orchrist, I saw that Conquest model. How do you like? Have you had a chance to play the game, or are you just painting the models? Because I still have our box set and haven't had a chance to do a game of it yet because of life.
Yeah, life. That's
life.
Isn't that the big thing? Life. Being an adult, man, who thought this was a good idea?
Adults.
I mean, and I do want to point out that this, I'm only maybe 2/3, and this thing's slightly aggressive.
Are you feeling a little inebriated?
But it's funny, you haven't gone on any profanity-ridden rants at all.
No.
Oh, Gonzo hasn't brought up Warcaster yet, has he?
We will save
No,
that for next
it's
week.
not. And it's almost time for our media section, so next week.
Next week, for everybody's listening, we will have Oz from Privateer Press on. We will be talking about Warcaster.
I like Oz. I don't want to throw profanity-laden rants at him.
The
Oh,
dope.
have fun.
We're gonna try to see what information we can glean from him and see if we can get some special stuff. But I have a ton of questions about the game anyway.
If you have questions, throw them on our Facebook page.
We do have a thing put up.
I would say message us instead. Probably easier that way, right, Gonzo?
Yeah,
you can
message us
message
on
us.
Facebook with your questions that can be asked to Oz next week.
All right,
Yes.
we'll be live, so people can come and they can still.
Yeah, you can still be live, but just in case, because they might want a little more approval on our questions. We'll see. Also, it'll be easier to work them in if we've got them beforehand.
Rhizome, that is the new sci-fi miniature game by Privateer Press.
Coming
Coming
to
up.
Kickstarter soon.
So we're going to talk
Or
about that.
is Rysdom asking Orchrist if that's a new
Oh, I don't know.
Viking miniature for Conquest?
I
I don't know.
Me either, but media section?
Media!
Media!
Give me 1 second. I
It's
got a little bit of
time
pain on there
for
now. So
media.
No seconds.
1 second.
1 second's up.
All right, there we go. I'm gonna still continue to paint because I'm on a roll right now, and I don't want to
He's
get off.
on a
of it.
roll.
Yeah, keep
Would you
going.
say you're hamming it up?
I'm not hamming it. I'm getting the leather parts done on parts of the model.
I like ham.
I also like ham. I made ham. Actually, I don't have any ham. Damn! No ham. I'm going to eat something after this because apparently dinner was not filling enough or lunch was not filling enough at 5 o'clock to keep me okay through this.
I had a donut
Was it
before
good?
this. And I'm only saying that to cause envy.
Oh, no. After dinner, I did have a chocolate pudding parfait. So
Ooh.
there's no envy here because that was fucking good.
Oh,
Well, talking about food that's apparently not really good for you, KFC's got a new sandwich coming out. Have you seen that?
No.
Is it as good as a Double Down?
It is
Are biscuits involved?
sort of.
Oh, God.
It is 2 donuts with a chicken patty in between the donuts.
So it's a chicken.
I don't know what it is with the donut as a bun thing. That's just sticky and gross.
I would counter with it being sticky and awesome and terrible for you.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is completely 100% horrible for you.
I would
try
rather do
one.
biscuits, but with a syrup condiment poured on it.
Kathy, please, please. I can only get so erect. What time is it? In case I have to call the doctor. Anyways, I think we should move on to the media section before things really go off the rails.
Yep. I don't even know how many I have to talk about today because I haven't even looked at my phone yet.
So I went and watched Two Towers last night with my friends.
Okay.
That was fun.
Is it still awesome?
It is still fucking amazing.
Great. I watched Fellowship of the Ring not that long ago on my Blu-ray copy, but I didn't watch Two Towers because life. And the only problem with those movies is that they take a significant time investment to watch.
Oh yeah, they do.
It's not like, oh hey, I'm going to watch a real quick movie. It's like, oh no, I need to plan a meal and get ready for this movie.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we were like, well, we could watch the Return of the King. No. As it was, we ended up watching some comedian, and I didn't get home until 2 a.m. So
Do you know what I was
now
doing?
we have to watch Return of the King here at home, and of course it's the extended edition. Of course it is.
I mean, I own... So, for that movie, I bought the original DVDs when they came out.
Yep.
And then when they had the extended editions come out with those nice large cases, the extra discs and everything, I bought those and gave the originals to my mom because...
Yep.
Thank you. And then, 2 years ago, last year, Amazon on Prime Day had the Blu-ray collection for very inexpensive. I want to say it was $30. So I bought that. Like you do.
That
And
really is a good price.
it is an amazing price. It was like, I cannot turn on this price.
Yeah.
It's like when I got the Back to the Future trilogy, upcoming on a review soon, as soon as I get the chance to watch 3 movies in a week, for like $20. And I was like, I fucking have to. Because that is an underrated trilogy. Everyone loves the first one and doesn't talk about the next 2 so much. It is a great trilogy.
Yeah.
I don't know. We started with the middle one yesterday and got just as sucked into it as ever, and it was amazing. And now Jim and I are like, we need to slate in some time here for to watch Return of the King now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I watched Return of the King just recently because I was like, oh man, I really want to watch Fellowship, getting ready for my new RPG, to kind of get in the mood and stuff. And they had the Two Towers and Return of the King, and I was like, oh man, which one? And I went with Return of the King just because it had cool battles.
Because of cool battles.
I
Because of the
think,
Indian battle scenes.
as a one-off, I think Fellowship is my favorite.
Yes.
I think in the trilogy, I think Two Towers is actually my favorite.
Interesting.
In the books.
I fall asleep somewhere about Tom Bombadil. Every time. Like, no offense to a great writer and all, like J.R.R. Tolkien, but man, those books are a fucking slog.
Yeah, they are.
Rise Jim Design says, I have not watched any of the 3 movies. Well, I won't say rush out and watch them because I don't know what your proclivities are, or if you're the kind of person who absolutely loves the books and would, like one friend of mine feels, the movies are an atrocity against the books somehow.
There are some people who think that, and
Yeah.
in Rice Designs, if you were local, you would come over here and we would watch those together because that's what I do. Make sure my friends see good movies, but I assume 0 space herpes for the Two Towers.
Absolutely.
On a scale of Casablanca to Cats. Casablanca?
Oh, Casablanca.
I figured.
Possibly one left. No, that's fair.
I think Casablanca's fair. Um, we were talking about movies to my buddy Immortan Joe, and his scale is like, all right, and it was funny. You'll find this funny, Kathy, because he goes, all right, on a scale of The Last Starfighter to Cats, where's it rate? And I'm like, and not Brusha Dave jumps in, he's like, whoa, hold on.
The Last
The
Starfighter?
top of your list is The Last Starfighter?
I mean,
It's a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Movie.
Oh.
I loved that movie. However,
However, indeed.
I feel like that one merits a couple of space herpes.
Maybe one.
Maybe one.
Well,
I'd 1.5.
Which
I
is
mean,
funny.
I really like it, but
Because the person who we were talking about, Birds of Prey, which is what we were referring to, and Alex, who I saw that with, has never seen The Last Starfighter.
Okay.
So you've got a scale. He actually technically has seen Cats. He doesn't know either end of
there's
it.
a lot of people who haven't seen The Last Starfighter.
A lot of people haven't seen Cats either. I actually met a guy in a local gaming store who saw Cats and enjoyed it, and I said, "More power to you, dude. I'm
Yeah.
not upset that you enjoyed it. I'm happy. I didn't." So, let's see. What did I watch? I actually only watched one movie this week, and that was Shooter, starring Mark Wahlberg and Michael Pena. And I've seen it. I think I actually reviewed it probably a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, a while ago on this cast or maybe the other one. I think it was this cast. I don't really remember. I like this better now than I did the first time. This is slowly getting up to that SWAT level of that enjoyable, throw the movie in, you're going to have a good time watching it, action-y type movie. And the reason I like it more is because it's not just pure action. They have a chase scene early on. So, let me back up. The concept of this movie, if you haven't heard of it, is Mark Wahlberg is an ex-Marine Force Recon sniper, so he is a badass. And they hire him because they want to stop a potential assassination attempt on the president, and he is like sniper du jour, so that's cool. And then they betray him because they actually use that as a reason to shoot somebody. I'm not going to get into all the details. I did kind of spoil the whole thing there, but that happens really early in the movie. And I'm pretty sure in the previews. So, I like the concept, and rather than having a full, healthy Mark Wahlberg running for people and basically Jason Bourning his way through motherfuckers, they shoot him twice to make him have to run. It's a really good narrative device to force him to run away and to keep the movie interesting. And then, after that, they introduced Michael Pena's character during that, and he's a rookie FBI agent who's like sitting there and putting all the pieces together. I really like the way this movie comes together. Now, I think it could be better. I would have probably run it as a narratively out of order movie with Michael Pena ostensibly as the main character, but he wasn't big back then. This is really young Michael Pena. But I really enjoy him. I really enjoy the way the characters work together. I just enjoy all of this movie. It is very well done. It, unshocking to say, it was directed by Anton Fuqua, who makes great action movies and has directed some of my favorite throw-in and watch movies. In addition to Training Day, but I think we could never expect anything like Training Day from him again. I think that was lightning in a bottle, and he got lucky and he rode that shit all the way, which is good. You should do that. But I really enjoy this. The action scenes are easy to tell what's going on, as is his standard style. A bit stylized, but very fun, enjoyable. A lot of characters who come in who are just enjoyable or hateable as scumbags the whole time. Danny Glover's in it as a bad guy, and he really sort of hams up the scenes he's in, which is enjoyable. And Ned Beatty, who has come a long way from playing Otis on Superman the movie to actually being the big bad himself. But still enjoyable, and it just got enjoyable. It's just a fun, enjoyable movie. It never gets too heavy. It never gets boring. It's just fun and enjoyable. It is a good action movie. I'm going to give it like 1.5 space herpes. It's not perfect by any stretch, but it's getting on that list of throw it in and just have a fucking good time. It might kick SWAT and the Replacement Killers down a notch and move up. Those are. The funny thing is, one of those is actually directed by Anton Fuqua also. That'd be the Replacement Killers, which I love. But Cheyenne Fat is awesome, so there you go. Gonzo, I'm sure you watched something this week.
I did. I actually introduced one of our listeners to a very old TV series, and I don't want to even say it's very old, but it's decently old, and it is a cartoon. And I introduced this person to Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon, not the movie.
And so, I probably agree that it's a cartoon, but man, that really stretches the line between cartoon and anime, doesn't it?
It does. And in all intents and purposes, it doesn't matter how it is. It's just that you know that it's Avatar: The Last Airbender. We won't talk about the movie. We won't care about it. It's there, gone, and dead. Not even worried about it.
I would watch it if it was free, and that's about it.
I wouldn't even do that.
I haven't seen it, so.
Oh, it's bad. It's real bad. But I did I do have the entire series. Amazon had a big sale on Avatar, Korra, and Last Airbender, and I popped it over to Captain Mizzy for her to watch. And we watched like the first 5 or so episodes, and I still thoroughly enjoy this series. It is super, super good. It's got good writing. It's got, funny art. It's really good TV series. If you've never seen it, go out and get it. It is well worth it. I even liked Korra, even though it was shut down a little bit earlier than it was supposed to be. I think it's a great TV series. It has some great voice actors. I think during the filming of it at one point, Mako passed away during it, and they did a tribute for him because he did the voice of Uncle Iroh.
Well, of course, boy Mako.
Do what? What'd you say, John?
I said I was going to pour some out for my boy Mako. I love Mako.
Yeah, and he did the voice of the uncle, and the uncle is one of the best parts of the series too. We always joke that if you ever need wisdom thrown at you, just go look up some Avatar Uncle Iroh quotes, because he's always got good ones. But so far, it was. I mean, it gives me 0 space herpes no matter what.
I mean, that's heard.
But I mean, just watching it again and going through again, it's just so good. I don't think I'm cautiously optimistic about the new series that Netflix is doing. If anybody doesn't know, they're going to be doing Avatar: Last Airbender as a live action again, but as a TV series on Netflix, done by the original writers. And they said that one thing that people have complained about is that they are going to do and keep. There's going to be no whitewashing of characters like the movie. And so people are kind of like, okay, all right.
It's fine. It's been. I don't have a problem with whitewashing because I understand at a certain point you have to appeal to the audience you're going for, and I have no problem with not whitewashing because if you get actors who can act and if it's subtitled or dubbed or even spoken English good enough, who cares?
Correct. But that was something that was brought up, that they were concerned that they might whitewash roles, because in the movie Avatar was a white kid. When I hate it because the kid didn't do anything wrong. That's kind of what they did.
I feel like movies get a bad rap for that, and but so
I think actors get a bad rap for that, and the actor shouldn't be the one that's gets the bad rap for it.
Did you like Avatar a little bit more in the second viewing, or about the same, or what?
About the same.
Okay.
I
really find the second viewing is when you really get into something, because your expectations of what it should be are gone, and you can enjoy it for what it is.
Well, what comes up about really funny about it is, so I'm watching it, and spoiler, I'm not going to spoil anything for Mizzy, but we kind of laughed about it, and it's the cabbage vendor. You start seeing the cabbage vendor. The cabbage vendor. There's a running joke that if you ever want to catch the Avatar, just go find a cabbage vendor because he's always near one, type thing. And it was just, I saw him on there for the first time, and he came up, and I just started chuckling to myself a bit because he, makes an appearance through the entire series. So it's just pretty good. I'm going to give it, of course, 0 Space Herpes still because it's still a great series. I wish I had a Blu-ray player at my school because I would play that for my kids at school because it is definitely well worth it. I guess I have to go with my next ones and everything because everybody else is done.
Man, I could talk about what YouTube stuff I'm watching.
Go ahead and go with that real quick.
So I follow a channel called EMGO, EMGO, and he does Transformer reviews. And you'd think that's kind of boring, but he has a lot of personality and he puts a lot into it. He's got a lot of running gags. At the end, he runs a sort of, Transformer action figure theater thing where he has them, interacting and all. Playing with toys. It's cool. If you're ever interested on, hey, is this Transformers toy worth it? You can always watch those. He does a bunch of them. You can see, hey, do I like this? He's not afraid to hit on the bad points, hit on the good points. Give you the whole thing, and you can see the whole thing as he's totally transforming it. Xenoverse, it's not stop motion. He's probably just got his hands and stuff out of the way. Occasionally a little stop motion where he's posed them. They don't move all the time. But it's very enjoyable. You can see if it's worth it. That's why I haven't bought certain Transformers and why I bought Jetfire here, because every review was great, including his. Jetfire's not in the frame, so Jetfire. He's really good. I suggest checking him out. And he does a bunch of reviews, and like I said, he's got a lot of personality, and he makes them fun. Not the boring stuff you see a lot of times where they're just. He's got a great manner for video. He's very vocal, a good vocal range, and really puts a lot of inflection in to keep you interested during them. Go ahead, Gonzo.
I am, since I got all these models to paint, I'm going to be doing and listening to some books. One of the books, the final book, came out just not too long ago. And I've been waiting for it to come out on audio so I could listen to it while I'm doing some painting, which means I won't be doing a lot of streaming. And I found out I don't paint a lot while I'm streaming sometimes when people are on there because I just start chit-chatting and sitting back and chilling. Which is okay, but I really need to concentrate on this. Now,
yeah, the more the chat is active, the less you get done.
Yeah.
That's why these Splintered Fang are taking me so long.
So nothing against our listeners or anything. I'll probably do something once in a while. I know I'm going to be probably doing my trays pretty soon and getting them painted up so they can be, because I'm going to airbrush those. But I'm going to be listening to a series on audiobook. And it is... Shut up. Siri tried to go off again. And it is, because I said series, not Siri. And it is called the Lightbringer series. It's by Brent Weeks. Brent Weeks did a really cool book series of... what was it called? Oh, God.
I've heard the name before, but I don't know where, so...
Oh, man. Where are you? Brent Weeks. He did a book, Night Angel Trilogy, which is about an assassin, which is really, really good. I read all those books, really loved it, really enjoyed it, so I decided to pick up his Lightbringer series. I've gone through all the books, listened to all of them, and they've been really cool. It's about a group of mages that actually use light to cast magic, and the spectrums of light, like red mages, color spectrums and all this other stuff. And the last book came out on audio called The Burning White. It's the end of the series, so I was really looking forward to it. So I went to go download it, and they had the reviews up, and I was kind of disheartened by the reviews because they are really, really, really slamming him on this book, and it really kind of irks me because I'm hoping that it isn't as bad as what people are saying. I'm still going to listen to it, so I'm not, I'm not basing it on just the reviews.
It rarely is as bad as they say. It's people who, remember, the people who do comment reviews are still generally what's called the vocal minority.
Yeah. So, because I'm still going to listen to it, still going to go through it and do that while I'm painting my miniatures, which I found that I can paint minis and listen to books really well.
Oh, that's good.
That it's a good one for me. But I was really disheartened by what I read on some of these people's, reviews of it, and I was like, dang it, I hope it's not bad, because I've really been looking forward to the end of the series to see what happens to everybody and what everybody's going to be doing. So,
having watched Birds of Prey, which is, I think, the ultimate, if you think you're interested, no matter what people say you should see it movie, sometimes if you're interested, you just see it anyways. Mm-hmm. You only want that for the stuff you're not sure about. Like a movie, let's say, like Knives Out, where I'm like, okay, reviews are really good, I kind of want to see that movie now. But I wasn't sure beforehand.
Correct.
But something like, I don't need to see a review of fucking Godzilla vs. Kong. I don't know if I'm going to go see Godzilla vs. Kong. Of course I'm going to see Godzilla vs. Kong. What the fuck? But you have to do that. Reviews are good if you're not sure. If you're sure, just be sure. Don't let a review stop you from watching something.
Yeah.
Unless it's someone you really trust implicitly and they tell you it is the most fuck awful thing ever, then maybe you want to skip it. Or you're like Alex, and I feel like I need to see Cats now. I'm like, no! Sorry. Go
ahead. So I'm listening to that. I'll give a review when I'm finished, but it's going to be a while. So not that big a deal. I'm hoping it does really well. I'm hoping it, it gives me a good ending and it's not what everybody is saying. So I'm hoping it's good.
Sometimes it's not going to end the way you want it. But again,
I don't have a problem with it not ending the way I want it. I just want to make sure that it ends type thing.
Yeah. And again, that's what I said back to the second time is so much better. Because the first time you go into something, you have expectations. And human nature, we're going to have expectations. That's why I love seeing so many movies with my mom a second time, because I get to experience them for a second time and find out if it was just my expectations fucking with me, or if it actually is maybe not as good of a movie. And sometimes you're surprised it's great the first time, the second time it's not as good.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that. It keeps you from calling something that, and that's not really a big deal, but calling something it's not a classic. Like, oh, such and such a classic. I was great the first time. You watch it and you're like, ooh. Example, I watched Machete last week. I talked about it on Mouth John. That movie is not as enjoyable as it used to be because it's a little too topical now. It's actually a little uncomfortable. It's like, oh, that's not okay anymore. And it's weird how a movie that's supposed to be just sort of frivolous, junky fun is suddenly not because of the way the times have changed. So, good to keep in mind when you're watching movies and media and stuff. It's very important. Very, very important to know what your expectations are and know how things have changed. That's why I don't watch old Voltron or shit like that, because it's not going to hold up.
No, it doesn't.
I'm certain it's fucking terrible. I'm going to remember it being awesome and great and continue.
That's how I feel about Croft Superstars.
Oh God, you know.
Those old Sid and Marty Krofft shows were brilliant when I was a kid, but
they're still brilliant because you remember them that way. They will always be brilliant. But there's some things that do, and you'll sort of know them. As you get more experience, you'll know. Like, I go and rewatch Robotech, because Robotech is actually more mature than the age it was made for. And there are parts that are not as good. There's some parts obviously made for kids. Movies have those, and videos have those, and series have those. But there are parts that are still super adult, and they hit you just as well as they did back then. It's like discounting the Return of the Jedi because there are Ewoks in it. Yes, Ewoks were made for kids, and yes, It's a little cutesy at points, but that's still a good movie, and it's not going to kill it. Maybe you don't like it as well. Maybe you rate it a little lower than you used to, but it's still an enjoyable movie because the rest of it's so good. It hits that fine line between kid and adult stuff. It gets it all in there, like Star Wars is supposed to.
Another thing, I am watching the newest season of Peaky Blinders, season 5. And so I'll give a review of that after it's done. But I did want to talk about something that's coming out this week, which I'm definitely looking forward to, and that is the new season of Altered Carbon. I think it comes out the 27th.
I'm not supposed to watch all this
Oh,
crap.
interesting.
A big hit. We all liked it.
Yes.
We all thought it was great. I can't wait to see this one, especially since they have a new actor playing, whatever.
I mean,
And
Anthony cut
Like
that
whatever,
shit.
the main character.
yeah, well, I'm gonna hold off in case there's like a switch because Altered Carbon, they play off a bunch of different things, and it's all there's a good plot twist and everything that comes with it. So I'm holding off on describing any type of the story. But yes, I'm really looking forward to
They've
it.
seen the first season.
Do what?
I would hope by now they've seen the first season.
Yeah,
I've been living here for a year, and I watched that at the last place I lived, so
yeah.
it's beyond the spoiler territory.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really, really. The first season was really good.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the second season goes with it. There, we've got the basics of what the world is like and how everything's going. So our expectations on some stuff may be like, well, why didn't they do like this, or why didn't they do that, or
I love
whatever
Anthony
happened.
Mackie, and he's lead
Yeah.
now. I'm fucking in.
Yeah, when I saw that he was doing it, I thought it was great because one of the ladies at my work was like, "Oh, I saw this, but they're not using the same actor." I says, "Well, technically, they don't have to use the same actor."
It's
Nope.
a cunning idea. I love it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
can use whatever they want because all you
It
gotta do
is
is,
appropriate to the source material. That's actually how
Yep.
the source material is. It's great.
yeah, Cortex stacks moves and you're done.
Well, the move it ended with the guy whose body he was borrowing, let's say, getting let out and being back. And that was sort of the happy ending of that.
Yeah.
That's what I like with Altered Carbon. The series ended with a happy ending. It felt complete, but you realize there's so much more it can go from there.
Yeah.
So
Because Takashi Kovacs has a lot he can do. And he's a bad man.
but I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I think that comes out this Thursday, so that'll be a good thing to binge on Thursday when I get home.
God, my list is so big.
I think somebody said that to me recently. I think Missy goes, "There's just too much stuff for me to watch."
Uh-huh.
Yep, that's kind of how
That's
it
why
is.
you have to say, I'm not going to watch this because it's not important enough to me.
Yeah,
I really want to rewatch Star Wars and try and catch up and watch like Clone Wars and Rebels and all that stuff I missed in there. But that is
it's a hell of a
like I could take a month off and probably barely get through it all.
yeah. That's
Man, a month off work sounds really good, doesn't it?
it.
Okay.
Let's see. What is it? February. 3 months, and I can do that.
Oh yeah. Respectfully, go fuck yourself.
So other than that, guys, that is pretty much the end of the cast. Unless someone has something else they want to talk about.
John.
And of course, John's got to jump in before anything else.
John. I'm
That's John.
taking Wednesday off of my stream. I normally stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in the afternoon.
Okay.
And
You're entitled.
Wednesday, I'm taking Jim out to lunch, and then we're going to run errands. So,
I was wondering special occasion with the errands, maybe not so much.
well, we're going shopping.
Yay, shopping!
Yeah,
Go
and
shop.
I will have probably a new episode of Fall of Mirkwood this week to have everybody listen to because I think we're going to be getting back. One of our members went to Disney for a few days, so we're like, "Yep, we'll see you when you get
I
back."
might do a new movies and minis. I'm trying it. I might try a different style since I don't have necessarily the time to watch a movie. I might just have a very movie-related topic as the second half of that. We'll see how that goes.
All right. For More Than Dice, I'm Gonzo.
I'm John.
I'm Kathy.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm going to see if I can send you somewhere else real quick. I'm going to see who's up. Guys, I want to send y'all off to Epic Duck Studios.